Hello, everyone. Well, today I'm going to be talking about forgiveness, how to do it, things that are difficult with forgiveness, and I'm also going to read from my book. It's all about love. I think forgiveness is probably one of our hardest things to try and do. I don't think it's easy. I think some people just do not want to forgive. Some people can't forgive. Some people won't forgive. But a lot of us really don't know how to do it and sit really comfortably with it. So this is what I wrote. Forgiveness. Without forgiveness, most of us would be alone. Forgiveness is a fundamental part of loving and being loved. Although many people struggle with forgiveness, it is a basic requirement in any long-lasting union. There are countless actions to be forgiven. Saying stupid things, not keeping our promises, big and small betrayals, and letting down those that we love. Small trespasses are easy to forgive. Nevertheless, the bigger ones create so much destruction that it becomes very hard. Each action in its own right has to be forgiven, and with some individuals, the list of unforgivable actions can really add up. In the end, forgiveness is a personal choice. Even if we know deep down that we should forgive, it has to come from inside of us before we can truly do so. Our personalities factor into our ability to forgive. With certain strong-willed souls, their walls are insurmountable. No attempt to forgive is made, and they are happy to carry all the pain and loss to their grave rather than forgive. Often these traits are inherent, or they had good teachers in their past. In certain families, forgiveness is seen as a weakness, a capitulation. Truly, it is easier not to forgive. No effort is required, and we can sit upon the throne being right and superior. In spite of that, we will continue to harbour negative emotions and be unable to move on. Not forgiving festers in the body and can result in illness with some people. Instead of it aiding their life, it can actually eat away at them. Families who refuse to forgive spend miserable years apart. That kind of misery is rarely spoken about. But in the end, when we fail to forgive, there is a price to pay. Frequently, the original issue is forgotten, but with no one willing to begin the forgiving process, families can be estranged for years, even decades. Time is an important consideration with forgiveness. Some actions that we definitely could not forgive initially may be forgiven given enough time. The emotions have to be felt and then released before we can reach this place. Hopefully, beneath these painful emotions, the love heart is still beating. We simply can't feel love yet. Perhaps we are too angry. Perhaps we are too hurt. If the injury has been severe, our numbness, the hurt and the rage have to subside first. In most relationships, we do forgive. Nevertheless, in particular situations, this may not be possible. Perhaps the person has died or we have lost contact. Maybe it is no longer healthy to be together. Then forgiveness must be done from a distance. It is never too late to forgive either those still living and those who have passed. Practice forgiving yourself and others, and always try to walk in another's shoes. In that action, you will come to a complete forgiveness. You need to let love and forgiveness walk hand in hand. When I wrote this chapter, I had a lot of people to forgive, and it was hard. Sometimes I wanted to do it, and I did it with my voice, but I actually knew on a deeper level I was still really angry and mad with them. And so it wasn't a true forgiveness. But I think the more you practice it, the better you get. I just kept saying, I forgive you. Not for the action. I don't forgive the actions or what you did, but I just forgive you because I need to do that for all of us. You will find it easier as time goes on. Initially, I think it's very, very hard. And I think that quite a lot of it is quite fake, the forgiveness. But in time, you sort of mellow and the love for them is there and maybe you miss them. So you want to be together. I feel that people who forgive are more flexible. I feel that they are coming from unconditional love, whereas people who won't forgive are coming from conditional love. And perhaps it's more about power and control and asserting that. Because in a sense, when someone's wronged you, you are somewhat disempowered because you suffer. However, Love is really important, and to come from love and really caring about the person and be able to let it go, because letting it go is massive with forgiveness. You have to let it go. You have to let the feelings go and the grudges go and the righteousness that we all have and the judging go. And that maybe is very alien initially. If you've come from families where they never forgave, it's very easy to get caught in that generational unforgiveness. But then you have a chance to change the pattern. You have a chance to make it new and right for you. You need to work out what you want in your life, whether you want to be a forgiving and completely loving person, or whether you want to hold on to it. Personally, I feel not to forgive eventually does affect the body. It will make you very angry and you have a lot of hurt. And when you don't let these go, these emotions, they will start to impact on your health, not only emotionally and mentally, but ultimately can be physical too. So perhaps it's a good thing to forgive others for ourselves as well. I noticed that people who forgive themselves for mucking up, for being stupid, for doing dumb things like we do, we're actually better at forgiving other people. It seems to go hand in hand, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. I notice people who are punishing and harsh with themselves were equally punishing and harsh with, particularly with people they loved. So I think the more you love yourself, allow yourself not to be perfect, and forgive yourself for what you have done that you think wasn't so good, the easier it is to forgive other people. I really believe forgiving is one of the ultimate lessons down here. As humans, we do not forgive easily. I feel as our spirit wants to do it, or our soul. And many religions will say that forgiving is a good thing. But ultimately, it is your decision. I've worked really hard. I had people in my life who did things that were actually in society unforgivable, and yet I found a place to come with that. I just kept sending them love, like not so much personal love, but I kept sending love to them when I thought of them and told them I forgave them for what they did. And eventually, sort of the more I did it, the more real it became. And actually, I became very quiet inside, and it gave me an inner peace. And I knew that my lesson was to do this forgiveness. What they did with it was really up to them. Life presents many obstacles, and they often come in the form of people. But you can always change. You can always be a different person. You can always behave differently. You're not today who you were yesterday. And part of our progression, I think, is to love unconditionally and to forgive. Practice perhaps on the ones who are easier to forgive initially, and then work your way back to the really hardcore ones. My father and probably my husband were the two people I really had to work hard at forgiving. But my aim is to do it and to continue to do it down through the layers, because there are layers of forgiveness. And ultimately, you will find that too, that you work down through the layers. Discussing this with other people can also not work. People think it's a weakness to forgive. I actually think it's a strength, because it's very hard to do. And all of you doesn't want to do it. You want to punish them, you want them to suffer, blah, blah, blah. But that's just the human emotion. And I think forgiveness actually makes you step up and become a better person, and perhaps a less judgmental person, because we all do stupid things and we all say things that we have regretted, and many of us would look back and think we could have done that better. I know I have. So we need to forgive ourselves and others. So good luck with your forgiveness. It's a bit of a thorny path. Sometimes it seems like you're getting somewhere and then they do something and you get really cross with them. And you sort of slip back. But I find slip backs very short and quite superficial. They're not deep. And then you just go back and do it again. People are who they are, quite genetically and also influenced by their environment. And so, you know, some people, you might forgive them and they never forgive you. And that's okay too, because for them, that's the path they choose. But if you are wanting to ascend, especially in love, practice forgiveness. Good luck.